How do scary games strike fear into the player? Thrilling moments in games have so many ways of making the player feel uneasy and on edge. How do games build a feeling of uncertainty and confusion? We'll get right into what is so scary about these experiences right after this message.
Sound, an element of horror in games. What makes a sound scary? Part of the reason why so many scary games are so frightening is the ambience and chills you get from it. The feeling that something might be lurking in the shadows is unnerving and helps build the tension. When an intense scene is taking place, sounds that indicate that something is behind you or is chasing you are very effective at adding more fear to a situation. Another great example of adding to the sound design is red herrings. Hearing small noises around you helps greatly with the feeling something is watching or approaching. Sounds that are similar to actual danger can throw off the player, reminding them they are not safe, and fake effects are something to pay attention to. Noises that are sudden and unexpected can add great fear to a startling situation as well. Even if it's just a fake scare to throw off the player, it can still impact the level of tension. It still adds sudden surprise and, for better or for worse, leaves a lasting impact on the player. I'm going to take an example from the Five Nights at Freddy's series. This effect is about the ambience of the fan on the desk. This is the only thing you hear in your tiny office besides the occasional animatronic interacting with you. It's honestly unsettling and sets the mood perfectly. Here's a clip of that now. All in all, sounds help in a lot of ways in horror games. It's kind of like the mastermind behind the throne. Everyone looks at the horror game and just thinks of the cool jump scares and dopamine rush when you finally complete the stage or the night. But this audio is what really makes this game shine.
Why are surprising things scary? When you walk by a closet or look under a bed, what do you expect? Maybe a monster or nothing at all? The fear there could be something threatening is what adds to a horror experience. That's why many games use a first-person perspective. This way, when you encounter a jump scare, it feels almost like it could happen in real life. Many games also use realistic graphics to depict a truly horrifying feeling inside a video game. It's also an image that has an impact on how scary the jump scare is. Take a horror game known as Spooky's Jump Scare Mansion, a game where you go through 1,000 rooms, but all the rooms get progressively more disturbing and scary over time. Take, for example, the first 100-ish rooms. Really nothing scary about them. They just have some cute cardboard cutouts of vegetables and other things that just pop out at you. Nothing special, right? This is called Specimen 1, and there are 13 known specimens. By the 8th specimen, it gets a bit out of hand and unnerving. Now I should say that none of the entities in Spooky's Jump Scare Mansion are inherently scary. It's just the atmosphere that's scary. That brings me to my next topic of environment. And the environment has a lot to do with the overall effectiveness of the jump scare. Let's take two different jump scares. The jump scare from Iron Lung and the jump scare from FNAF 3, Springtrap. Now, I have to go over each game respectively. I'll go over Iron Lung first. Iron Lung is a game where you navigate your submarine through a deep ocean with no contact to the outside world whatsoever. At the very end of the game, your submarine starts filling with blood, and then a monster busts in. That was the explanation of Iron Lung. I'll now talk about FNAF 3. In this game, there are multiple jump scares, but only one will end your night. This is the Springtrap jump scare, and it's not very scary. He just jumps from the side of the screen. Now, what's the difference between these two? Although they both have good environments, one relies on it too much and ends up defining the jump scare, and game as a whole. Can you figure out which one? Whether you got it or not, FNAF Springtrap is not as scary because of the atmosphere of FNAF 3's office compared to Iron Lung. But that's not the only thing about that jump scare that we can learn from, and this coincidentally leads us into the next topic.
How color helps a horror game. When you look at a game like FNAF 3 for the first time, it can be hard to tell what's going on. This is because of the dim lighting and almost everything is in the same tint and color. But that's an example where too little color is bad. But what about a game where little color is a good thing? This, my friend, is a little game called Critters for Sale. This game is a point-and-click adventure game where you, quote-unquote, experience death from the comfort of your seat. In this black and white horror game, you can choose from 5 different stories, and the lack of color helps bring out the horror in an otherwise non-scary video game. The only reason that it's scary is the randomness and lack of color. But what happens when you have too many colors? When there's too many colors, this can help set a chaotic atmosphere and a sense of urgency and disruption. Color can bring life into a game and suck it out at a moment's notice.
All in all, these elements help make scary games a fear-inducing experience for all. Some honorable horror games we talked about in this video are
the FNAF series, Doors on Roblox, Spooky's House of Jump Scares, Iron Lung, and Critters for Sale. This video has been made by Coffee and Space and VLacK. All credits will be in the description. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe to keep this content continuing.